Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Toonkind 12 FPS. My name is Whis. I'm one of your players today, and I'm playing Selli Alamos, among other things, today. It's a totally normal day for Selli, isn't it?
Yeah.
Joining me is a very lovely and talented and stupendous friend of mine.
I Uno reverse card. You are also those things. But hello, everyone. I am Winona, and today I will be playing the scrawny wizard of Scrambles and his little adorable scribbly son, Scratch.
Hooray! We love them. We love them so.
Mm-hmm.
So, how are these two doing? They've just been doing day-to-day normal stuff, except for Scribbles, who's been doing all sorts of things since their adventure to Column Seal. Anyway.
Yeah, he's been gathering resources. He's been trying to work on a few projects on the side of his business, his tutoring business. Things are going okay. They're going well for the most part. The trip to future world definitely helped get some of those resources for sure.
And so I'm going to say that it's like a day off or so for Scribbles. Like
Yeah.
there's no tutoring that needs to happen today. So it's a chance for him and Selli and Scratch to have a little family together friendship. What do you call it? Outing? Not friendship. They're family. They're a family, Your Honor.
They're family. They are a family, Your Honor.
A bonding. Bonding! That was the word I wanted. Family bonding thing. Yay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And what are these bunch of nerds gonna do with their day off?
Go to the library.
Heck yeah! Not that they don't go fairly regularly. Selli has a dedicated library bag, and she made it herself. It's got a little moon on it, and she made one for Scratch, and she made one for Scribbles.
Oh,
They all
it's
have
adorable.
little matching library bags.
Oh, love it. It's adorable.
But yes, so they go to the library a lot, but they like libraries, so that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm gonna say that Scribbles is probably still keeping tabs on the state of one Faber and Iona Dominim.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
Indeed, he
there's
is.
been no change over the last little while. There's still cats, but the blacksmith and the blacksmith's wife are very carefully looking after them.
Which he's very appreciative of them. Appreciative of them doing that for them. He's probably been making, since if I remember correctly, the wife is pregnant. He's probably has made given them some jars of vegetables and fruits for them, just as a little thank you for helping out.
Oh yes, absolutely. The blacksmith's wife was indeed pregnant. Yes, she's much appreciative of that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that has definitely weighed on Selli's mind a smidge ever since. Like, I mean, you're at the point where you can't really do anything about it yet.
Mm-hmm.
But
Unfortunately,
you can tell that Selli's still kind of bothered by it. And I'm going to start with getting Scribbles to roll a perception.
oh boy. All right, perception. All right, it's gonna be one of those nights.
Okay. Alright, that's a 9. So it's not twigged straight away. I think it's probably this trip to the library that Scribbles probably notices Selli's getting slightly different books out than normal. While she's still grabbing a few novels and things like that, which she likes to read, Scribbles, you notice after you get a few of your own books, and you kind of have this thing where the three of you sort of sit down in the library at a table or whatever, and do some reading at the library before going home. You sit down and you notice that a couple of the books in Selli's pile are very different to what she normally gets. They're on different magic types, and she doesn't normally go for the magic study textbook kind of things, but this thing is bigger than her head, so I reckon that's why you see it even with a 9.
Yeah. He's probably is gonna lean over and now be a bit more interested in what is she reading.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll her a perception see if she notices you doing that. Oh yeah, dirty 20. She's just gonna immediately just turn and look at Scribbles.
Yeah, Scribble freezes as he's caught red-handed. He's a snoop. He blushes.
You alright, Scribbles?
I'm alright. I'm just curious what you're reading there.
Oh, um, well, most of it doesn't make a lot of sense, actually. It's a big textbook, and she puts her hand under the front cover and flips it closed, and it closes with a loud thunk, and like this is this very heavy textbook, and it's about all sorts of different spells, and like it's the kind of thing that you would expect any beginner wizard to pick up. Like you've probably read this book.
Yeah, he's noticed it, but he's like, oh, I know that book. It's one of the more beginner books that wizards usually start reading. What's drawn you to it?
Oh, well, I'm not really as good at magic as you are, but I was hoping that maybe I might find some inspiration for something that. She sort of slumps a little bit, and she fiddles with her pendant. I was just thinking of Column Seal.
Yeah, Scribbles gives a little nod. That, yeah, they're still doing well from what I've been corresponding with the blacksmith and his wife. I actually sent them over some jars not too long ago, but I'm not gonna lie when saying they haven't been on my mind either.
I feel terrible, Scribbles. One of my people did this to them, and my magic isn't strong enough to undo it.
Strong enough yet. I know you could. I know you would help them if you could. And heck, if I was any good at healing magic, I would definitely have my hand in trying to help. And he's just gotten a little bit quiet at that too.
I want to take responsibility for this, even if it's not my doing. But I've never come across something like this. And my magic's just not sufficient, so I was hoping I might find something that would be a bit illuminating.
Scribbles nods at that. I mean, I can definitely try to help you out with that. I mean, I've been trying to get more magic too myself. I picked up a new spell scroll not too long ago to fill out more of my repertoire for what we're eventually gonna face.
If only I could learn magic like you can.
Good. I can definitely help you with that. And he wraps an arm around her. I am a tutor after all, as he gives a little wink.
That's true, you are. I don't know that I have the aptitude for wizard magic, but there is some overlap.
There's a little bit of overlap, and maybe we can start there. Maybe we say I know some good books in the library. Let me try to find some of the books that I'm looking for. I think I know which one. I think I remember what section they are in.
All right.
And he scribbles like a scratch as he's probably reading a little tiny book just to himself. You say, "I'll be right back, Scratch." And Scratch gives a thumbs up as he just continues reading.
Cute.
And Scribbles just goes off into the library.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, do you want to roll an investigation for finding your book?
Yes. Let's see. Come on, dice parser. Gosh dang it! I need to start swearing on dice parser. It seems to work for Comet.
Oh dear, idea. That's fine. That works. So you're looking around, and you would swear that the book that you wanted is supposed to be right here. And like, this is the Toontown Library. They always have more than one copy of a book, so even if somebody has borrowed it, there's always a copy on the shelf. That's kind of just how this library works.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it not there?
And Scribbles gets a little bit frustrated. He's like, don't tell me someone mixed up where the orders of the books are, or they put the book into a different section because they were like, oh, I don't actually need this book anymore. I'm just gonna place it right here. No, come on, people. At least go back. At least put it on one like even a dolly, please. Just put it on one of the little dollies for like someone working here to eventually place it back, please and thank you. I hated this when I worked at the library at the university. He just goes on a ramble similar to that.
Oh dear, do me a perception check.
Mm-hmm. Perception. One, hopefully, say +1, and yeah.
Nice, 16. All right, cool. So you're having your let's be real. You're having your tantrum about the book not being there.
Yeah, his hair is getting a little bit spiky.
Yeah. And as you're sort of winding this down, there is another voice that kind of cuts across you, and it's only quiet. But there's another voice that cuts across you with just a quiet little, it's been misshelved. 2 shelves down.
Huh? And Scribbles immediately looks to see where this voice is or it's coming from.
So you look around, and there is one other person in the aisle. They're come up to you about your shoulders height-ish, and they've got big round glasses and a monochrome color scheme, and they're carrying this pile of books that sits higher than their head, and they're just casually walking past you. And like, they've just mentioned this little offhand thing as they've walked by and are continuing down the aisle.
Oh, thank you very much. Let's say that's an impressive stack of books of you have there.
They kind of pause a little bit, and you can see them tilt their head up towards the stack. You do to lunch.
Let's say, out of curiosity, what you're reading about.
And there's this another pause as this person stops, and they kind of look their stack up and down. Got some of everything in here.
Let's say he looked this person up and down. Does it look like they're a student or they're just enjoying a lot of books?
No, they kind of look student-y. Like, I mean, if you can picture the nerdy high school anime kid with the kind of spiky hair and the spirally glasses and the Japanese school uniform, that's what they look like, except in 100% monochrome. They're grey all over, just shades of grey. But yeah, they kind of just sort of shrug, look up and down. Yeah, some of everything. And then they sort of look at Scribbles for a long moment and then abruptly turn on their heel. All right, bye, Scribbles. And they're sort of heading down the aisle.
Wait, what? He's just like, wait, I don't know you. You know my name. I'm probably pulling a Lynn here, but I'm not letting this go. He's like, wait, hey! And he follows after this person.
Okay. Do another perception check.
Alright. Are we gonna behave now, Dice Parser?
Eh.
Only a little bit. You're on thin ice.
It's an 11. It's not super great, but it's not awful. So you follow this toon down the aisle and they duck around the corner and you lose sight of them for a second. And when you get to the corner of the aisle as well, it's at the end of the aisles where there's a whole bunch of tables and there's a few, like, couches over near the windows and stuff. And you can see that big, impressive stack of books, but the toon that you were following is nowhere to be seen.
Well, like, goes over straight towards the books. And to where the person where you think they should be and tries to look around again. It's just like, it's just to see. He's like, his stack is right there. Should be here. It's just like, probably doesn't see them, but it's just like, this is logically, this is where the person should be.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to look through the stack?
He's gonna look through the stack, though. Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. So when they said there was a little bit of everything, gosh, they weren't kidding. There is a cookbook, there is a like a youth junior what do you call it? Young adult novel kind of thing.
Yeah, young adult novel.
Yeah, there is possibly the most advanced artificer textbook you have ever laid eyes on. There is a how to draw book. There is sci-fi. There is fantasy stories. There's like 20 books, and every single one of them is a different genre, a different reading level, a different comprehension level. It is literally a bit of everything.
That guy was not kidding at all. Scribbles like mumbles to himself. They're not even like, they're just all random too. It's just, he looked like a high school student, so I assumed like just studying for wait, it's not even midterm season. It's not even close to. He's just like, something's up. He's say, unfortunately, Lynn has left an impression on this boy. He needs to find this person now.
All right. Well, what's Scribbles gonna do?
He's gonna try to investigate and try to figure out where this kid is gone.
Fair enough. I think you're gonna have to start cursing at it again. That's a 9.
And I'm gonna have to start cursing at it again.
Tell you what, do it with advantage.
There we go.
There we go. That's a 15. Okay, so you don't catch sight of this toon again. Like, you might have been able to say, oh yeah, they've put their stack down and have gone to go and get another stack, just based on the behavior you've seen thus far. But also the distance is too far for them to have done that, and you would have seen them. There wasn't enough time between you losing sight of them around the corner and then getting around the corner yourself for them to do that. The fact that the stack is this far away is actually a little bit suspicious in of itself.
Mm-hmm.
And while you can't see them, you do get this distinct feeling that you're being watched.
Yeah, Scribble is not the best. He does not particularly like that. As he just like sort of casually is walking down the aisles, like still looking for them, but definitely more in a posture of, I don't know what's going on, but if you're gonna try to pull something, I'm gonna be ready for it.
I'm tempted to make Selli and Scratch roll something to see whether or not they notice Scribbles pacing the aisles.
They probably, yeah, I'm gonna roll for Scratch. You'd be the first to know.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's just say...
Perception?
Give him a Whiz.
Oh, Whis?
Yeah, Whiz because he likes his books.
Mm.
Let's see. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna do a perception for Selli. Oh, okay. All right, they've noticed.
Yeah, Scratch is soul bonded. They just get that gut feeling. Scribbles is not in trouble, but definitely is definitely up. And they put their book down.
Yeah, I think Selli and Scratch probably do this at the same time between a 20 and a 21. And it's like Scratch has already put his book down and then they just sort of share a look and then turn and they can see Scribbles just agitatedly pacing around the library. Is he alright? She's just gonna look at Scratch.
Something's up.
Oh,
Don't know what, but I know something's up. As Scratch floats over to Scribbles.
Yeah, Selli's gonna follow. Scribbles, is everything alright?
Maybe I mean, so far, but maybe it's just Lynn rubbing off on me, or I'm just being paranoid. But when I was looking for that book I told you about, I ran into this monochrome toon that looked to be around high school age, and he directed me that, well, the book was misplaced and it was two aisles over, and I was like, oh, thank you, nice. It had a very large stack of books, and then he looked at me and then said, bye, Scribbles, and runs off, and then he disappears from me. So yeah, I don't trust that.
He knew your name.
Yeah, a little bit sus.
Oh. You're not exactly a public figure, even though you do advertise your tutoring, but that doesn't have your face on it.
No, it doesn't. That's the thing.
Hmm.
That's why I'm looking for him. He has to be somewhere, but he might be just ping-ponging around the library. His books had everything from advanced artificer to just your normal cookbook.
How strange. If he's still wandering around the library, Scratch could go up high, couldn't he? And she sort of just points up at the ceiling and looks at Scratch.
Scratch nods enthusiastically, like, yeah, I could do it. As Scratch goes up and tries to get a look to see where this person is.
Alright, sounds good. Roll some sort of bones for that. Probably perception.
Yeah, perception.
11. Okay.
Eh.
Okay. So Scratch goes up high above the shelves and gives the entire library a cursory glance from that new vantage point. And you can't see any monochrome toons from that there, but what Scratch does notice is the sitting area where that stack of books was kind of looks greyish. It's on the other side of the library to where Selli and Scratch were reading their books. But, like, where that stack was, yeah, it seems a little grey.
Yeah, Scratch tells Scribbles this, and he nods like, mate, alright, we'll check that out. You stay up there, Scratch, and keep an eye on him, alright? And Scratch gives a little, like, you can't say he gives a little salute downwards as Scribbles makes it towards the stack.
You head back over to that area, and yeah, there he is. He's sitting on one of the couches, nose in a book. Like, a big book. So you can't actually see his face.
There you are. I was wondering where you went off to. If you don't mind me asking, how did you know my name?
They just pause, and they sort of, you can see their glasses peek over the top of the book. Oh, I didn't know you'd be coming after me. Okay. Sure. Oh, I know a lot of things. And he just sort of hides his face in the book again.
What kind of things? I very much like knowledge, and I'm hoping you could possibly share a little bit of yours.
Roll perception.
All right.
And I'm going to roll one for Sally.
All right.
16
Decent.
is good. 15's also good. I think, because you got that 16 and Sally got 15, I think you kind of both noticed this at around the same time. But Sally puts her hand on your arm and she's looking down at the floor. And this Toon is casting a shadow from these big windows that are behind him. And there's not the kind of shadow you would expect on the carpet. It's sort of round shapes, actually very familiar round shapes. And they're kind of moving, even though the Toon themselves is not moving at all. These shapes are sort of moving as if to kind of duck in and out of your vision a bit.
I think a better question now is, who are you? As he looks at the shadows and back up to the Toon.
Yeah, they've kind of, their book that they were holding has tripled in size, and like it's now newspaper sized, and they're kind of almost hiding behind this huge book.
Because you sort of you sort of remind me of someone only I've been told about, but never really seen myself. Though I heard they are a bit shy, but love every book under the sun. And I don't mean to make you uncomfortable, that is for sure. But, and Scribbles, goes over, doesn't sit next to them, but sits across from them, maybe at a point, it's just give them a little bit of space.
Mm.
I just want to make sure I'm not confusing you for someone I could possibly know.
They kind of put you can see them sort of pull their legs up so that their whole body is behind this book, except for their little grey fingers around the covers holding it up. Don't know what you're talking about. Sorry.
I kind of think you do. Just a little bit. Just that fatherly intuition. As Scratch eventually, he calls Scratch back down.
Do you want to roll an Arcana?
Yes. Just make sure what your Arcana is. Yep.
I mean, it's still good. It's still good. Look, this is a good disguise. But you can tell this is a magic disguise of some sort. Like, you've seen things like disguise self. This is like disguise self on steroids. This is not like it looks as though if disguise self actually had mass.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can kind of tell because you can kind of vaguely get the idea that it's magic based.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still very convincing. It's as convincing, if not almost more convincing, than the hallucinatory terrain that you had experienced in Salunia.
Yeah, Scribbles gives a little smile at that. One magic user to another. I could tell you're pretty powerful, at least. And he goes over and Scratch floats back over to him. If you are who I think you are, I think you'd be interested in the new knowledge that I've been researching.
There's this pause, and you're not quite sure when the book got smaller, but it's distinctly smaller now. And there's those big glasses just sort of peeking at you over the top of this book. New knowledge? Something new?
Indeed. Mm-hmm. Something entirely new. Well, kind of old, but also new at the same time. Have you ever heard of a genius loci?
Does it tilt to the head? Yeah, of course.
Well, I have discovered a new branch of that genius family.
Ooh, new ones. New ones, really? Really? Can I see? Do you have a book? Do you have a book? Maybe?
You're looking at one right now. As he puts Scratch in his hands and sort of shows him off a little bit. And Scratch turns yellow and gives a little wave.
The Toon puts the book down, and you can see their whole self. It's still that grey high school looking thing. They put the book down on the couch beside them, and they sort of scooch over a little bit more, and then they reach their hands out to go and pick Scratch up, and they do. They just pick Scratch up straight away.
Yep.
Ooh.
So you go ahead.
No, he's just sort of holding Scratch in both hands and just sort of gently rolling him from side to side and just sort of leaning in really, really close. Oh, neat.
Indeed. He was once I am pretty sure you know what a scribe's little manifest mind ability is all about. They say they conjure a little being, whether it be a little scribble like this, or a pet, or just a cascade of words, but it doesn't have form or shape. Well, you can tell from the my little son in your hands that he indeed does. A being made up of magic with its own soul.
When I can spell book, gain sentience. That's so cool. I've not heard of that happening before. I wonder if that's happened before. And he's just sort of lifting Scratch up and then moving him around and giving him an ever so gentle little squish. And he starts rattling off, he's talking very, very quietly, but starts rattling off what Scribbles would recognize as information about scribes, wizards, and the awakened spellbooks, which Scratch started as. It's just bleh, just rambling mindlessly. This information is just coming out of his mouth.
Scribbles let him ramble a little bit more. Just sort of a little bit of a smug smile on his face. Just because it's like, haha, if this is who I think it is, I'm impressing a god.
Do you wanna check on the cleric of said god, by the way?
Yeah, he really does, casually look over at Selli.
Yeah, Selli is not really watching him as such, but she's watching his shadow on the ground. And if you look down as well, and I won't make you roll for it, you can see the shapes on the carpet, those round symbols, which you are very familiar with now as that Pokemon-y script. They're sort of spelling out different words and moving around and looking like almost like an excited flock of seagulls kind of thing, interacting with Scratch's shadow on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And Selli is just sort of watching that, and she's very stiff and very quiet.
Scribbles does probably scoot a bit closer to Selli. He just softly whispers, "You all right?"
She's just gonna turn and look at him, and then look back at the shadows and then look back at him a few times, like look between them, and then there's just a kind of motion towards them, but she doesn't say anything. She's just like kind of thing.
Yeah, Scribbles gives a nod. Yeah. I say the moment I saw that, I kind of guessed that, yeah, we may be talking to you know who.
She just sort of does that motion again. It's like, and then she reaches into her dress and pulls out the. Actually, I'll roll her hammer space. I'll do it properly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fine. She pulls out the pendant that has as her initial in her Pokemon script on it, and she just sort of holds it in both hands, and you can see she's holding it very, very tightly, but she refuses to take her eyes off of those shadows.
Yeah, Scribbles nods. Yeah. Hey, Unbekannt, can you come over here? I think I need to tell you something.
There is this pause from the monochrome tune. It, like, goes very rigid. And, like, if it wasn't for the fact that Scratch can fly, you'd probably be hitting the carpet because he just abruptly lets go.
And Scratch just sort of floats there and gives sort of the smug look that Scribbles was giving off.
And he just sort of turns his head very slowly and just looks at Scribbles. And then you can't really see eyes behind those big glasses, but you get the impression that there's just a blink, blink.
He's just smiling.
I think I should go. Okay, bye Scribbles, bye Scratch, bye Selli. Okay, and he's just sort of getting up, and I'm gonna.
Oh no, you don't. Oh no, you don't. Scribbles like stands up. Ugh. I know that Selli told me you were a little bit shy, but at least stay for a spell, please.
And there's this exaggerated thud as he flops over the back of the couch. No, I'm good.
Come. We need to say, come on. I can tell you a little bit more about Scratch. He seems to like you. Scratch floats around them. I mean, you're a god of knowledge. I'm a wizard of knowledge. He technically still made of knowledge. Magic, arcana.
There's this pause, and then you can just see that pair of glasses peek back over the top of the couch. You tell me new things?
Of course. He's gonna go for hammer space. Yep. Mm-hmm. He takes out the Pokemon little recipe guidebook. As far as I'm aware, your whole thing is sharing knowledge. And if you can share some of your knowledge, I'd love to share more with yours. Or at least me to you, you know?
Could do. I suppose. Maybe. And he just sort of looks around, and like the library's not hugely busy at this time of day, but he looks around and goes, maybe not here.
Yeah, that's fine. We can go there. We can say there's some meeting rooms we can go to. Someplace a little bit more private.
And there's just this meek little nod, and Selli is currently mind exploding.
Scrambles has met 4 gods now. He is not fazed by this.
Yeah, par for the course, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. So, he's gonna stand up and pick up the massive stack of books. And you as a scrawny wizard, you know what it's like to have people look at you and go, yeah, you can't really carry a bag of potatoes. This this guy looks like, if you didn't know that he was a god, you would look at him and go, how in hell is he carrying 10 kilos worth of books? Because that's what it looks like based on the number of books he's just picked up. And he just sort of goes, okay, this way.
All right. And Scribbles takes Selli's hand. He's like, come on.
And she sort of jolts a bit. Okay, I'm coming. And she's like holding onto Scribbles' hand really, really tightly.
Scribbles does do a message spell to her. And he's like, relax, darling. I say, gods are actually a lot like people from what I've been experiencing.
And she kind of glances at him as she responds. It's like, but this is my deity. One who I've worshipped my whole life. And he's just happens to be here.
Scribbles message back. He's like, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's something going on, but for right now, just try to relax. As he wraps an arm around her.
She leans into Scribbles as they follow. I'm just gonna say it. Follow Unbekannt through the library towards one of the doors for the meeting rooms.
Yeah. Scratch has since landed on Unbekant's shoulder. Is just chilling there.
All right, shiny. Can I get what am I gonna get you to roll? Probably a Arcana, I would say.
All right.
I'll do one for Selli.
Oh yes, the dirty 20s. Now I'm getting some good rolls.
Yeah.
Oh no, Selli.
Selli got an 8, and Scribbles got a dirty 20. Okay, that's fair enough. Actually, that's fine. So Unbekannt puts his hand on the handle for the meeting room and opens it and steps through. And I'm not going to make you roll separate for Scratch because Scratch is there.
Yeah.
But you do get that sort of twinge of this from Scratch before it hits you when you and Selli step through this door. But you just went through some sort of threshold.
I see.
And what you're expecting on the other side of that door, that meeting room you're expecting, it ain't it. You're in more library now.
Rebels takes a little pause to himself, and then he's like felt this before because he's been to Pritch's place. He's just like, I see. This is the same thing. Let's continue on.
Now, this is... You've seen the Toontown Library. You've seen the library at University City. You've seen the Hall of Origin Library. This is even more. Looks like it could be every book ever written and then some. Every book that is possibly even remotely conceived of being written, past, present, future. There is just endless books.
Yeah, he does that sort of... I'm not very sure you can hear it. It's just like that impressed whistle.
Yeah, it didn't come through the mic, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, and he's like, gotta say, gotta love your place. Very impressive.
Oh, thanks. Take a seat. And he just sort of motions, and there's this immediate as a whole bunch of books just sort of fall out of space and form this nice book couch.
Oh, thank you. As he goes to sit on the couch with Selli.
Selli is being dragged along by Scribbles at this point, and you imagine that if she had a mouth, it'd be open.
Yeah.
Like, she's just, what?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if you've played Skyrim at all.
Yeah, I mean, I know bits and pieces of it, yeah.
Yeah, there's a plane of existence that you go to in that game, which is basically what you've stepped into. In Skyrim, it's called Apocrypha. And, yeah, it's just books upon books upon books. Some of these books are in very nice neat shelves, and other books is just sort of making up the environment. And Unbekannt goes and sort of sits down on another book couch opposite you, and looks at you very expectantly.
Scribbles smiles. I mean, maybe I told you a bit about Scratch. Made of magic. I'm calling this new branch of genius, Una Magicae. It's definitely very much a departure from the naming scheme, but I feel like it fits more of what he is.
Una Magicae, haunted by magic. Yeah. Oh, no, that makes sense. There's the magic in the spell book, and yeah. No, that's a good name. And he gives you a little thumbs up.
Thank you very much.
And there's just this awkward pause.
Yeah. Probably Scribbles looks at Selli and say if she wants to say anything.
She's sort of still taking in this realm.
Yeah.
I want to say plane of oblivion, but that's the Skyrim terminology. There's
Yeah, say this pocket dimension in D&D terms.
Yeah. D&D has a name for it, but I can't think of it.
I think it's just generally called pocket dimensions for what I've known.
The bit of the astral plane or whatever where gods hang out.
Yeah,
but anyway,
yeah.
But yeah, she's just sort of going, oh, every book ever. But if Scribbles sort of nudges her or anything, she will sort of snap back to reality a little bit and jump.
Yeah, he'll give her like a little nudge.
And she does that. She just sort of jumps and she looks at Scribbles. Sorry, Scribbles. What?
No, it's okay. This is your first time meeting a god, I'm presuming.
Yes. It's not yours?
No, it isn't. I've technically met 4 gods. Five? 4 gods including Unbekannt.
Oh. No,
yeah, it's been a very weird year.
No wonder you're taking this so well. Sorry, I don't know how I'm supposed to behave.
No, it's alright. You've technically known this god ever since, well, you hatched. It's understandable that you'd be a bit starstruck.
She just sort of nods a bit. And Unbekannt is just still sort of sitting there awkwardly watching the two of them.
Yeah.
Like, you can roll an insight if you like.
I mean, sure, why not? Let's see. Yeah, still +1. Alright.
That's not bad.
Nice.
That's not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah, you get the feeling, like, with the number of people that you've met, and the number of gods that you've met, you get the feeling that Unbekannt doesn't have any idea how to people. Like, at all.
Yeah, he's met gods that are very much people person, literally their whole deal, which in Pritch. Others he's met that are total evil maniacal psychopath, which is Epsilon. And then he's met the wild cards of the dead god and chaos. So he's been through the ringer.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's always that nerdy stereotype of high school nerds where, like, they've got no people skills whatsoever and don't interact with people. You reckon, like, it's that, but to the extreme? Like, Unbekannt doesn't talk to people, really. Even though you know, fairly confidently that he has at least got a warlock.
He's got at least one warlock.
Yeah, so it's like, he would have to have talked to people a bit, but the fact that you are in his realm and he is going, okay, we're going to have a conversation. This is a big deal for him. This is the more peopling than he's done in, like, you know, a number of years, probably.
Yeah, most likely.
So he's not going to prompt any. He's just sort of sitting there.
Mm-hmm. That's why he sort of Scribbles just like, oh, maybe Selli could start something since she's a cleric. I was like, oh, nope, Star Trek. Okay.
Yeah.
You sort of think that, well, maybe just to begin things off, it's very nice to finally meet you. I have definitely heard lots of things from Selli, but it's interesting seeing, her patron in person.
Yeah, I don't get out much, but I wanted to get some new books. Sorry, for the inconvenience,
No inconvenience at all. I'm just more curious than anything that you just be on the mainland and searching for books. Though it doesn't come to a total surprise.
I've read all the books at the Hall, so, yeah, wanted something new.
I see. Selly was gonna, her mission was to bring you something new eventually with the Druid books, but I'm curious to see how much you know about them. I mean, technically, the dark types, that's all their thing. It's just,
Oh,
ugh.
yeah. Dark types and ghost types. Very good with plants. They lean into that knowledge really well. I'm really proud of them. They have done a lot of development in that area.
I could see that from, well, honestly, I'm curious. Maybe it's not in my place to say, but you haven't, you know what's been happening, right?
Yeah.
Why haven't you been trying to stop it?
Not my place. Not my job.
I mean, you're kind of their god with a capital G, but I mean, I am mortal and don't understand everything about gods, I will fully admit.
Then Unbekannt kind of looks a little bit sad for a second, but then looks back up at you. My job is to know, not to do.
You think you could possibly give us then some knowledge to try to help out with this situation?
Sure, I guess. What do you want to know?
Well, and Scribbles looks over towards Selli, knowing that she's been trying to research something a little bit. I didn't know he wants to try to give her the chance to talk. He's trying. Yeah. It's just like he's trying to be a good boyfriend.
Unfortunately for Scribbles, the first thing on her mind is not actually Faber and Iona anymore at the moment. But she does blurt something out, and it's, why do you look like a Frankenali? And Unbekannt just sort of looks down at themselves, and then looks back up at her, and then looks down at themselves. Subtle. No one notices me like this.
That's fair enough.
Imagined you would look more like a Pokemon-y, given our ties to you. Yeah, kinda. But this is subtle.
I mean, there's not many Pokemon on the mainland, so to blend in, it makes sense.
And, what I actually look like scares people, so.
Scribble is just like, eh. They say he can't say anything for or against it. He's definitely seen some scary stuff, but he's just like, this is just another book nerd like him. He's not that scary.
He is in his his inoffensive disguise form at the moment, so
I
like.
know, fair still.
But Sally does sort of look down, and she looks more pointedly at Unbekannt's shadow, which is still doing those glyphs are still doing the thing, and like they're moving too quickly for you to actually decipher any words, and you're not actually really good at that anyway at this point. But they do look like they're forming words and then moving into forming other words.
Mm. Well, let's see. In any case, I do have some questions.
Okay.
And he's gonna pull out something. Yep, it's not one.
That's
It's
all
not
we
one.
need.
But say, Silly definitely finds this. He pulls out the Pokemon tablet.
Oh, great. Cool. Yep.
I'm hoping, since this is in your language, or at least in your words, how do you describe it, Silly? I mean, in all essence, what is, say, could you possibly translate this for us and tell us what it does?
And he reaches his hands out and he takes it and reads it. And, like, when I say he reads it, I mean he looks at it and you assume that it's all just sort of immediately in his brain. Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. And he flips it over and looks at the back. Huh. He's gotten good.
Who's gotten good?
Oh. And he gives the tablet a bit of a wiggle. The guy who wrote this.
So it wasn't you per se. Okay.
No, I don't really do spells.
All right. Do you know who's wrote it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Girl, waits like he's ready to hear a name.
You asked a question and he answered it.
And their name is?
And there's this pause. And then he tilts his head to one side. Do you want their actual name or the one they're using?
I prefer to hear say, why not both?
Well, I'm pretty sure they were always the dramatic type. They liked to be impressive and stuff. Pretty sure they called themselves the King of Rings.
Scribbles nod to that. I definitely heard his title. Yes.
Sally just sort of shudders a little bit. And Unbekannt just sort of flips the tablet over and then holds it up so showing off the magic circle on the back. And he sort of taps it, and you can see why.
I could see, yeah.
Always
So what?
really talented spellsmith, that guy.
Yes. So what's his actual name? I'm curious now.
Helios Dahara.
Helios. Interesting. Let's see. So what does this spell what does this spell actually do then? I sort of know the basics of it. If I remember correctly, taking a soul from at least from what I've been seeing it in practice. Say, taking a soul from a genius loci, basically their being and placing it into another body.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean,
what are...
it's actually really simple. And he starts launching into a simple, in quotes, explanation. And I'm going to get you to roll an Arcana.
Oh boy!
Damn!
He is a nerd for a reason, but the dice do it! That is a nat 20, people!
Yes! That's what we like to see. Okay, cool. So you understand perfectly what Unbekannt is telling you about this spell, about the way that it's structured and the way that it works. He's giving a lot more detail than probably your question was warranted.
Yeah, Scribbles is not, and Scribble has taken no time in getting out his book and writing everything down.
Whereas Selli is just sitting there going, what? I'm not even going to make her roll. She has no idea what you're talking about. But he then sort of, he finishes the explanation about the construction of the spell and this, that, and the other thing. And then he goes, and it takes the target, and this is the target. And then it takes their soul and all their magic and all their intelligence, and then they just put it into a new body. It has to be an organic. Doesn't seem to work with an organic grown body or one that's got a soul in it already. Yeah. And I guess it leaves the old body as a husk? I wonder.
See.
But yeah, that's what it does.
What do you wonder about? I'm curious now.
Well, I mean, I don't exactly have the knowledge about how they use this spell yet. It'll happen. I'll get it. But yeah, no, based on what I'm looking at here, I'm wondering what happens to the body left behind. You said it was used on Genius Loci. Well, it says right here, Genius Loci.
Yes.
So I assume that, did the houses disappear?
No, the physical manifestation of the body, the house, the building, from what I've been hearing the terms of it from people who actually have one, they say the building is still there. It doesn't take the building.
So then I imagine if it was used on somebody that wasn't a Genius Loci, the body left behind would be dead, I guess. Or, a vegetable, at least. Where they're taking over a new body. Neat.
I would have to assume so, but...
It'd be really good if you were, paralyzed or something like that. Though that's not really his style.
Indeed it would. Yeah, especially if it's known that this is not a particular Genius Loci. They say this is for anybody, any soul.
Oh, well, see, it's all about how you target it. And he holds it up and he points to a piece of text on either side with both hands. See, this is the target. It just says Genius Loci. It's not actually been very specific. Imagine if you actually put somebody's name there. Then it'd actually... See, that's the thing. It's done what it's supposed to do if it's taken some randoms. But, it just says Genius Loci. So, if I were to... And he sort of flicks his hand and a quill appears in it. And he just writes over the top. And the old text disappears. And he writes, still in that Pokemon script, and he writes on there, Scrambles. And now you know what your name looks like. You can kind of get the feeling it's your name, even though you can't read it. Scrambles. And he writes that in place of what he said with the words Genius Loci. If I write it like this, and then you cast a spell with it like this, then you'll shoot out of that body of yours and go into whatever one you use the target body.
Scribbles is smiling as he is getting how this spell works, and he's loving every bit of it. Terrified, also slightly on the inside, because holy crap, this is like soul magic, and this is dangerous as heck. But hey, at least now he knows how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And Scribbles gives a nod. I see. That, I say, this is invaluable information. I say, can you add any of your thoughts, Selli, to this?
She's sort of looked uncomfortable as she's watching and listening to all this. She didn't understand any of the magical jargon. And she still looks a little uncomfortable about the mention of the King of Rings, given everything. But she just sort of looks at it and then looks up at Scribbles and then over at Unbekannt. What would the King of Rings need this for? And Unbekannt kind of looks at it. Well, doesn't really have his own body anymore. Probably that's it.
Wait a minute. Doesn't have his own body anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Are you telling me he... I mean... Did he almost die, I'm guessing?
And he kind of does that hand wobble.
So, say, if I remember, the King of Rings, or his true name, Helios, was originally a ghost type. He was the ghost type on the council.
And a nod. Yeah, that's him.
So he originally did have his own body, but I'm guessing he possibly almost, I mean, it could be a dying act. I mean, there was not war, but like, I'm guessing there was fighting when he tried to take over.
Roll an insight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Scribble is trying to piece this all out. Say insight.
Nice.
Wow. Oh, that's another nat 20.
Cool. Works on Selli, and apparently it works on her god as well. So you're doing this pondering out loud, and you look over at Unbekannt, and he looks sad. Like he knows exactly what you're talking about probably in excruciating detail, and he just looks sad.
And Scribbles clocked this, and he's like, I'm sorry. I probably got a little bit too carried away with trying to figure this out. I can only imagine what you went through when all this went down. I was sorry. I was being a bit insensitive there.
Yeah, it was rough. Lots of people, lots of knowledge, lots of books. All sorts of things were lost.
Scribbles nods at that. I can only imagine. So apparently the island is still there from a source that was a minion to the to Helios.
Yeah, wow. You mean Cinnabar? Yeah, it's still there. I mean, it's always still been there.
I thought it was lost.
And sank.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but it came back?
There's just a small nod.
I want answers, but I know this is also a rough subject. How does an island come back?
And Unbekannt kind of just sort of draws in a deep breath and holds out a finger in a I'm about to explain, and then just sort of puts his hand down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually know that yet.
Well, at least we're both on the same page there. We don't know how that happened. That gives me a little bit.
I will know.
And if we find out, we'll definitely tell you how he did it.
And that actually does bring a smile to Unbekant's face. I like that. You seem like a good god. And I'm sorry if I seem abrasive and or insensitive,
I I was not raised like Selly was. I was never raised on worshipping any particular god.
There's
So
another nod. Yeah, I know.
yeah, I'm also curious how much you know about me, but I'm honestly not very sure if I want to know the answer to that question.
He kind of does this very small little chuckle.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm I'm gonna some mysteries are better left unknown, and I'm just gonna leave that alone for right now. I'm just gonna just tap that away for a while.
And it's at this point that Unbekannt's gonna stand up from his book couch and starts walking along one of the rows of books with a hand on his chin as if looking for something.
Scribbles like leans over and watches him, just curious.
And he's going to do this for a minute or so and then just reach into the bookcase and doesn't actually grab a book, but grabs something else, which is completely hidden in his fist, and then wanders back over to Scribbles. You don't mind telling me stuff later, right?
Yeah, of course. You're, at least from what I've noticed from learning about Pokemon, it's like you're all about sharing knowledge, and I'm definitely all for that. That's something that I can definitely connect to.
And he nods, and then he holds his hand out, which is still clenched in a fist, around something, wanting you to put your hand out.
Huh? And Scribbles looks at him and like stretches his hand out, open palm.
Cool, and he's gonna put something in your hand. Do I have a picture of it? Does my computer want to open? Come on. Where are the things? Where is it? No, it's not there. No.
Oh no!
Where's the... I will have to find it later because this is gonna give me the shits. Is it in Rise folder? Is that where it is? Yeah, that's where it is. And I don't even have the right one.
I feel that.
It's like, oh, defeated by my own filing system. Oh dear.
I fully understand that.
Yeah, so he puts a item in your hand, and it is a gold pendant, a very very familiar looking gold pendant, except it has a different symbol on it, and it has a, where is it? These are not in order. I will find it for you later when we're not on the call, because this is going to be
no.
annoying otherwise.
I know what it look. I'm used to unknown. I know what the S symbol looks like.
You get an S unknown pendant. He just sort of plops it there. Here you go.
Scribbles looks down at the pendant, looks at Unbekannt, looks down at the pendant, looks up at him, down at the pendant, looks up. He's like, but I'm not a Pokemon-y.
What's your point?
He opens his mouth, closes it, and like thinks about it. I guess nothing. I'm just more surprised than anything.
You're gonna give me information. So, I'm gonna give you something in return. Doesn't do anything.
I mean, fair enough, and these symbols, they're, I know they're important to their culture. It's just, sorry, I need a second. As he looks at the pendant. Yay, it looks so pretty. Love it.
And Selli is just sort of watching, and she's just got her eyes on that pendant, and they're kind of sparkling a little bit.
Yeah, he does not know how to. He's fine with all the arcane talk. He can understand this guy when he rambles about how spells work. When he's been given a gift by the god, say, "Hey, I like you." That's when his brain is shut down.
Oh dear. But Unbekannt kind of just gives a little bit of a shrug and then grabs a random book and he just sort of shoves his face in it, and you kind of get the impression that that's what he does when he's socially overwhelmed.
Thank you for everything. Though, I hate to ask you this one last question, but it really, I have a friend named Faber. Unfortunately, they've been feeble-minded, or at least some variation of it, by Helios. Is there any way you can give us information, help us cure it?
And he kind of stops and peeks over the book. Knowing him, it's probably custom made.
That's what I was sort of afraid of. I was hoping maybe you would have maybe an answer.
Well, knowing the way that he does like his spells, he uses himself as a battery, and this was the style at the time. So, if you cut them off from the power source, the spell will end.
Are you saying we'll probably have to defeat him?
And there's a shrug.
Okay. I'm glad that I know this information at least. I say it's still very valuable, even though we can't help them right away, but at least we have an idea how to. Again, thank you so much, and thank you for your time.
And there's this meek little smile before he distinctly hides behind the book couch again.
All right, Scratch, come on. I think we've given this little book nerd a little bit too much stimulation. And Scratch flies back over.
Cool. Selli's gonna stand up and brush off her dress, and like you can kind of tell that she is just forcing herself to be calm. Mm-hmm. She'll have a freak out when she is not in her god's plane of existence.
Yeah.
But that she's just puts her hand on Scribbles' arms. We should go.
Yes.
And then Unbekannt kind of perks up and goes, yeah, the library's gonna close. You'll get stuck otherwise. And
yes.
Then arrested, and then you'll have to spend the night in jail.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen, do we? Again, thank you for your time. We'll say, the exit's that way, right? As he points towards where he remembered the exit is.
There's another as there's like a door built out of books. And it just creaks open.
Perfect. Well, hopefully maybe we can see each other later. It's been very nice talking to you, and thank you for all the information.
There's a nod, and he's behind the couch, so there's just little thumbs up from over the couch.
Yeah. Say I'm hoping once I get back to UPA, I'll have my paper fully published. So maybe I'll give you the first real copy when I get that.
There's a pause, and then the little peeking up from behind the book couch, and there's a smile and a nod.
Scribbles nods back as he doesn't waste any more time in the god's dimension as he leads them all out.
Can I get one more perception from you, please, as you leave?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Back to average. I mean, he did get 3 nat 20s. I mean,
yeah, he really did. I think as you're stepping through that door, you can kind of glance over your shoulder at the book nerd's realm, and you can kind of see the books that had collapsed into those couches are flying back into their places on the shelves. and you only catch a glimpse of it as the door shuts. You don't get a really good look, but you kind of blink just before the door closes, and that grey high school student look, you can't see him anymore, and it just looks like there's just a bunch of letters floating in the air before the door clicks shut.
Scribbles tucks that in his mind, but it just gives a little sigh of relief as the door clicks shut and disappears.
Well, the door itself doesn't disappear. On this side, it actually looks like a meeting room door.
Yeah, fair enough. But when it clicks shut, he's like, well, that was an exciting day.
Selli is very stiff, and like Scribbles can tell just by looking at her that she is about to explode. But maybe not doing that in the library would be a good idea.
Takes out his spell book and he casts Dimension Door. Come on, let's get back home.
And she nods. And she uses the Dimension Door to go home, and the first thing she does is go over to the couch. She picks up a pillow, she fluffs it up real nice on one end of the couch, carefully lays down face first in it, and then just starts to squeal at the top of her lungs. And you've never heard Selli be that loud before.
Yeah, he probably jumps a little bit. He's just like, Selli, are you okay?
Like, she kind of just kicks her little stick feet a little bit. And you can roll an insight if you like.
Well.
15, nice.
Yeah,
she's okay. She is overwhelmed, and you can just looking at her again, she is glowing a little bit. So she's not hurt, she's not upset, she's just brain full.
Yeah, and Scribbles just like hand over his heart, sighs in relief. He's like, okay, girlfriend's fine. She's just very excited. Okay, that's good. Okay. And he does like look at his new pendant. It's just like, dang.
And I guess that's where we leave him.
Yeah, because he wants her to get it all out. Like this is a big moment for her. So it's just like, yeah, just let her have this.
Yeah, she still doesn't know what her god looks like, but she knows what his avatar looks like, ish.
Yep. Indeed.
But, you know, baby steps.
Baby steps, indeed. Baby steps.
All right, well, thank you for doing this with me, Winona.
No problem. This has been an absolute delight. I love this so much.
We stand one very shy nerd god.
Yes, one shy nerd god that we love.
Oh dear. Well, thank you everybody for listening. This has been a fun time. A little bit more of the story comes out. Woohoo.
Indeed.
We'll have to see what happens next. In a few days. There is more.
Yep.
Mwahaha.
Yep. Mwahaha. I can't wait to listen in on it, hopefully. I want to listen in on it. If I can, I will. But anyways, goodbye, everyone. Have a good night, good time zone. Bye.
Good time zone. Bye-bye.